The day you stop wasting yourself is the day your real power begins. Not when they finally respect you, not when they regret losing you, not when life becomes easy. Power begins when you look at yourself honestly and realize how much of your energy has been leaking into useless places. You wasted your focus on people who only wanted your attention. You wasted your words explaining yourself to those who had already decided to misunderstand you. You wasted your loyalty on connections that only survived because you kept sacrificing your peace, and every time you did that, you weakened yourself. Machiavelli understood that power belongs to the controlled man, not the emotional man. The man who reacts to everything becomes easy to read. The man who begs becomes easy to use. The man who keeps giving himself away becomes easy to replace. So from this moment, you stop. You stop chasing. You stop explaining. You stop returning to people who only respect you when you disappear. You stop feeding situations that drain your mind, your discipline, your confidence, and your future. Comment this now. I stop wasting myself. Say it like a command, because your mind needs to hear that the old version of you is finished. That weak version who tolerated disrespect must die quietly. That version who confused attention with love must disappear. That version who kept waiting for permission to rise must be buried. Your real enemy is not betrayal. Your real enemy is your own habit of staying where you are being reduced. The day you stop wasting yourself, your silence becomes heavier, your time becomes expensive, and your presence becomes rare. You no longer move for approval. You move for power. You become disciplined, selective, unreadable, and dangerous in the calmest way. Because when a man stops wasting himself, he does not need revenge. His transformation becomes the punishment. The first sign that a man is waking up is not noise, it is distance. He begins to pull his energy back from everything that made him weak. He stops answering every call. He stops defending every decision. He stops giving emotional discounts to people who only bring confusion. This is not arrogance, this is strategy. Machiavelli knew that a ruler who allows everyone access to him becomes easy to influence, easy to study, and easy to destroy. The same is true for you. If everyone can reach your mind, everyone can disturb your mission. You must learn to cut off what drains your power without making a speech about it. Weak men announce boundaries. Powerful men enforce them. If someone constantly leaves you mentally tired, emotionally unstable, or spiritually smaller, that person is not a connection. That person is a slow leak in your life. And a man who wants power cannot afford leaks. He must protect his attention like a kingdom protects its gates. Comment this now. My energy has borders. Because from this moment, your peace is not public property. Your time is not a charity. Your loyalty is not automatic. People must earn access to you through respect, consistency, and value. Not through guilt, not through history, not through empty words. The world will always try to pull you back into old patterns because the weaker version of you was easier to control. They liked you more when you explained. They liked you more when you tolerated. They liked you more when you needed them. But that version is gone. Now you move differently. You listen more than you speak. You observe patterns instead of believing promises. You stop being impressed by charm and start measuring behavior. This is cold power psychology. Never judge people by what they say when they need you. Judge them by what they do when they have no advantage to gain from you. That is where truth hides. And when you finally cut off what drains you, something powerful happens. Your mind becomes clear, your body becomes disciplined, your decisions become sharper, your confidence returns because your energy is no longer being stolen by useless battles. You stop reacting to every emotional trap. You stop explaining your silence to people who benefit from your confusion. You simply disappear from the places where your power was being wasted. And in that silence, you begin to rebuild. Number 2, your discipline must become colder than your emotions. A man does not become powerful because he feels strong. He becomes powerful because he acts strong even when his feelings are trying to betray him. That is the difference between a dangerous man and a wasted man. The wasted man obeys his mood. The dangerous man commands his mood. He does not wait to feel ready. He does not wait to feel motivated. He does not wait for the pain to disappear. He moves because movement is his proof that he is still in control. Most men lose their future in small moments, not in one big failure, not in one dramatic collapse. They lose themselves through repeated weakness. One skipped workout, one wasted night, one useless conversation, one emotional reaction, one more excuse, one more return to the same person who drains them, one more promise to start tomorrow. And slowly, without noticing, they become strangers to the man they were supposed to become. Machiavelli understood that power is not protected by feelings. Power is protected by discipline, calculation, and restraint. A ruler who cannot control himself cannot control anything else. If your emotions can pull you away from your mission, then your enemies do not need weapons. They only need access to your triggers. They only need to know what makes you angry, what makes you jealous, what makes you desperate, what makes you insecure. Once they know that, they can move you like a piece on a board. So your first kingdom is not money. It is not status. It is not influence. Your first kingdom is yourself, your body, your mouth, your habits, your reactions, your attention, your sleep, your hunger, your private routines. Because the man who cannot rule his own impulses will always be ruled by someone else's strategy. This is where your real transformation begins. Not in public, not in front of applause, not where people can praise you. It begins when nobody is watching and you still choose the harder path. When your bed is warm, but you rise anyway. When your mind wants cheap pleasure, but you choose focus. When your anger wants revenge, but you choose silence. When your weakness wants comfort, but you choose growth. That is how power is built. Quietly, repeatedly, brutally. Stop trusting your emotions like they are always telling the truth. Sometimes your emotions are just old wounds wearing a convincing voice. Sometimes your fear is not wisdom. It is conditioning. Sometimes your desire is not love. It is hunger for validation. Sometimes your sadness is not proof that you should go back. It is proof that you are detoxing from something that owned you for too long. The day your discipline becomes colder than your emotions, people will feel the change before you explain it. You will stop being easy to disturb. You will stop giving reactions for free. You will stop falling for the same traps in different faces. You will move with silence, control, and precision. And when a man reaches that level, he no longer needs to tell the world he has changed. His consistency becomes the announcement. Number 3, stop giving your mind to weak environments. A man can have ambition in his heart and still be destroyed by the environment around him. Understand this clearly. Your surroundings are not neutral. The people you sit with, the content you consume, the places you keep returning to, the conversations you allow, the habits you tolerate, all of them are either training you for power or preparing you for weakness. Nothing around you is innocent. Everything is programming you. Machiavelli understood that a ruler must control the atmosphere of his kingdom. Because if the kingdom becomes polluted, the ruler becomes vulnerable. The same applies to your life. If your environment is full of lazy minds, emotional people, jealous friends, cheap pleasure, gossip, distraction, and weakness, do not act surprised when your focus begins to rot. A man cannot build a powerful future while living inside a weak atmosphere. You must become ruthless with what enters your mind. Not because you are better than everyone, but because your future is too expensive to be surrounded by anything cheap. Every useless conversation takes something from you. Every negative person bends your mood. Every fake friend divides your focus. Every hour wasted on meaningless entertainment trains your brain to avoid difficulty. And slowly, your standards fall. You stop demanding greatness from yourself because your environment keeps rewarding smallness. This is why separation is necessary. Not dramatic separation, strategic separation. You do not need to insult people. You do not need to announce that you are evolving. You simply reduce access. You stop placing your ambition in rooms where nobody respects it. You stop sharing your plans with people who secretly hope you fail. You stop seeking advice from people who have already surrendered to average living. A prisoner cannot teach you freedom. A weak man cannot teach you power. A distracted mind cannot teach you focus. Cold power psychology begins when you realize that most people are not attacking your dream directly. They are attacking your discipline indirectly. They invite you into distraction. They normalize delay. They laugh at your seriousness. They make discipline look extreme and weakness look normal. They say, relax, you have time, because they wasted theirs. They say, you are changing, because they lost control over the old version of you. They say, you think you are better, because your growth exposes their comfort. Do not argue with them. Observe them. Let their reactions reveal their position in your life. Some people are not enemies. They are tests. Tests of your patience. Tests of your standards. Tests of whether you are still hungry enough to walk alone. And if you cannot walk alone for a season, you will never lead anything meaningful in your life. Solitude is not punishment. Solitude is where a man removes the noise and hears his real command. Your environment must be built like a fortress. Your room must remind you to focus. Your phone must stop being a doorway to weakness. Your circle must either sharpen you or lose access to you. Your routine must protect your future even when your mood tries to betray it. Because once your environment becomes stronger, your identity begins to change. You no longer have to fight every second to stay disciplined. Your surroundings start pulling you toward the man you are becoming. So stop giving your mind to weak environments. Stop sitting where your vision gets mocked. Stop laughing with people who are secretly burying your potential. Stop calling it loyalty when it is really fear of being alone. The day you place yourself in an atmosphere of discipline, silence, pressure, and growth, your power will stop being an idea and become your nature. Number 4, become hard to distract. Distraction does not arrive like an enemy. It arrives like comfort. It comes through one message, one notification, one memory, one useless urge, one emotional trigger, and suddenly your whole direction is broken. That is how power is stolen. Not always through war, sometimes through noise, sometimes through pleasure, sometimes through the small things you keep calling harmless while they quietly train you to abandon yourself. Machiavelli would tell you that the strongest person is not the one who fights every battle. It is the one who chooses which battles deserve attention. Most things do not deserve your reaction. Most people do not deserve your explanation. Most opinions do not deserve space inside your mind. Attention is a weapon. Every time you give it to the wrong thing, you disarm yourself. Look at your life with brutal honesty. How much time have you lost to useless scrolling? How much focus have you wasted checking who viewed you, who ignored you, who replied late, who moved on, who doubted you? How many hours have disappeared into fake pleasure, fake connection, and fake urgency? You were not just wasting time. You were training your brain to become weak. You were teaching yourself to leave the mission whenever comfort called your name. That ends now. Your focus must become sacred. Your goals must become private. Your schedule must become protected. Your mind must become a locked room where only useful things are allowed to enter. You do not need to be everywhere. You do not need to answer everyone. You do not need to react to every opinion. You need direction. You need silence. You need repetition. You need the cold discipline to keep building while others keep talking. Dark psychology teaches one simple truth. Distracted people are easy to control. Give them pleasure and they forget their pain. Give them noise and they forget their purpose. Give them attention and they forget their standards. But a focused person is difficult to manipulate because they are already possessed by something greater than approval. They have a mission, and a mind with a mission does not bend for every temptation. So become hard to distract. Let people wonder why you are quiet. Let them feel your distance. Let them misunderstand your focus. Your job is not to explain your transformation. Your job is to protect it until the results become impossible to ignore. When you stop feeding distractions, your real power begins to sharpen. Number 5, the cost of becoming powerful. Every version of power has a price. That is the part nobody wants to hear. People love the idea of becoming stronger, richer, more respected, more disciplined, more dangerous. But very few are willing to pay the cost that comes with it. They want the reward without the sacrifice. They want the crown without the pressure. They want the transformation without the pain. And because of that, they remain exactly where they are. The truth is simple. The moment you decide to stop wasting yourself, life starts demanding payment. Not in money, in comfort, in excuses, in old habits, in weak relationships, in distractions that once felt normal. Growth is expensive because it forces you to let go of the things that keep you small. Think about it. Every powerful version of yourself requires the death of a weaker version. You cannot become disciplined while remaining addicted to comfort. You cannot become focused while staying available to every distraction. You cannot become respected while continuing to tolerate disrespect. Something has to go. Something has to be sacrificed. That is the law of transformation. Most people spend years protecting the very things that are destroying them. They protect bad habits because they feel familiar. They protect toxic relationships because they fear loneliness. They protect excuses because excuses remove responsibility. They protect comfort because comfort asks nothing from them. Then they wonder why their lives never change. Machiavelli understood that weakness survives through attachment. The more attached you are to what should be removed, the harder your evolution becomes. This is why powerful people learn to detach quickly, not because they feel less, not because they are heartless, but because they understand that holding onto dead weight eventually sinks the entire ship. There will be moments when becoming stronger feels lonely. There will be nights when nobody understands what you are building. There will be seasons where your discipline separates you from the crowd. Let it happen. The path to power was never designed to be crowded. Most people choose comfort. Most people choose distraction. Most people choose excuses. That is exactly why most people never become extraordinary. The strange thing about growth is that the people who once celebrated you may start feeling uncomfortable around you. Your discipline reminds them of their procrastination. Your focus reminds them of their distraction. Your ambition reminds them of their surrender. And instead of rising with you, some will try to pull you back down. Do not hate them. Do not argue with them. Do not try to convince them. Keep moving. Every step forward will cost something. Sometimes it costs comfort. Sometimes it costs relationships. Sometimes it costs old identities. But every price you pay is buying something greater, self-respect. And once a person develops genuine self-respect, manipulation becomes harder, distractions become weaker, and fear loses much of its control. So stop asking whether the journey is difficult. Ask whether staying the same is costing you even more. Because the real tragedy is not the pain of transformation. The real tragedy is spending your entire life protecting a version of yourself that was never meant to survive. At some point, you must decide, will you keep paying for comfort with your future, or will you pay the price of growth and finally become the person you were capable of being all along? Comment below, I pay the price of growth. Number 6, build in silence until they feel your absence. Silence is where your real power starts becoming dangerous, not the silence of weakness, not the silence of fear, the silence of strategy, the silence of a person who has stopped explaining and started building. When you waste yourself, you talk too much, you announce too early, you share your plans with people who have not earned the right to hear them, you search for approval before you even begin. And that is how your power gets poisoned before it grows, because every unfinished dream becomes vulnerable when it is exposed to the wrong eyes. Machiavelli understood that a wise mind does not reveal every move. Power needs mystery. Power needs timing. Power needs restraint. If people always know what you are doing, what you are feeling, what you are planning, and what you are afraid of, they can predict you. And what can be predicted can be controlled. That is why silence is not empty. Silence is armor. Silence is protection. Silence is the space where your next version forms without interference. You do not need to tell them you are changing. Let them notice your absence. Let them feel the difference when your energy is no longer available. Let them wonder why you stopped reacting, why you stopped explaining, why you stopped appearing in the same places, why you stopped laughing at the same weak conversations. Do not give them a speech, give them results. A powerful transformation does not need an announcement. It creates discomfort by existing. This is where most people fail. They cannot build privately because they are addicted to being seen. They want praise for the first step. They want applause for the intention. They want attention for the struggle. But attention too early can weaken you. It can make you feel rewarded before you have earned anything real. It can make you perform growth instead of living it. And once your transformation becomes a performance, you start shaping it for the audience instead of the mission. So disappear with purpose. Reduce your noise. Lower your visibility. Protect your routine. Work while they assume you are finished. Train while they think you are broken. Learn while they think you are silent because you lost. Save money while they waste it. Build discipline while they chase pleasure. Improve your body, sharpen your mind, clean your habits, raise your standards, and let the world meet the version of you they did not see coming. There is cold power in becoming unavailable. People only understand your value when your access is removed. When you stop answering instantly, they feel it. When you stop giving emotional reactions, they feel it. When you stop showing up for nonsense, they feel it. When you stop being the person they could always disturb, use, delay, or guilt, they feel it. Your absence becomes a mirror. It shows them how much they benefited from your wasted energy. But remember this, silence must not become laziness. Disappearing means nothing if you are not building while hidden. Isolation without discipline becomes decay. Distance without direction becomes emptiness. If you step away to sharpen yourself. Step away to rebuild your focus. Step away to remove your weaknesses. Step away to become so steady, so controlled, so difficult to move that when you return, people cannot reach the old version of you anymore. Your silence should be productive. Your privacy should be powerful. Your distance should have a purpose. Every day behind the scenes, you must be doing something that makes you harder to defeat. One more page, one more workout, one more skill, one more hour of focus, one more bad habit destroyed, one more emotional weakness controlled. This is how ordinary people become dangerous, not through noise, through repetition, through secrecy, through discipline that nobody claps for. And when the results finally speak, do not explain the pain behind them. Do not tell everyone what it cost you. Do not beg them to understand your journey. Let the outcome carry the weight. Let your calm face confuse them. Let your discipline intimidate them. Let your success answer every doubt. Because the day you stop wasting yourself, you stop needing witnesses. You become the witness. You become the proof. You become the quiet force that no longer asks to be believed. Number 7. Turn pain into precision. Pain becomes dangerous when it stops making you emotional and starts making you precise. Most people suffer and become loud. They complain, they blame, they beg for sympathy. They turn every wound into a public performance. But that is how pain gets wasted. If you are going to suffer, then suffer intelligently. Let the pain teach you where you were weak. Let it reveal who was fake. Let it show you which habits, people, and desires had too much control over you. Machiavelli would never tell you to ignore pain. He would tell you to use it. A wound is information. Betrayal is information. Rejection is information. Failure is information. Every painful moment shows you something about the world and something about yourself. The weak mind asks, "Why did this happen to me?" The powerful mind asks, "What did this expose?" That one question changes everything. It turns emotion into strategy. Do not let pain make you bitter. Bitterness is still weakness because it keeps your mind attached to what hurt you. Let pain make you sharper. Let it make you quieter. Let it make you more disciplined with access. Let it make you slower to trust and faster to observe. Let it make you more careful with your time, your words, your loyalty, and your heart. Not closed, controlled. There is a difference. The people who hurt you gave you a map. They showed you what happens when you ignore patterns. They showed you what happens when you over-explain, over-give, over-forgive, and under-protect yourself. So do not hate the lesson. Master it. Become the person who cannot be entered through the same door twice. From this point forward, your pain must serve your power. Use it in the gym. Use it in your work. Use it in your silence. Use it in your discipline. Use it when your old habits try to pull you back. Let every memory remind you why you cannot return to the weaker version of yourself. You are not here to cry over the wound forever. You are here to turn the wound into a weapon. And when they expect you to break, become calm. When they expect you to react, become silent. When they expect you to return, become unreachable. That is precision. That is control. That is the beginning of real power. Remember this: the day you stop wasting yourself is the day your real power begins. Not because the world changes, but because you change. You stop giving your energy to distractions, weak environments, empty validation, and people who benefit from your confusion. You become focused, disciplined, controlled, unshakable. And once that happens, life can no longer manipulate you the way it once did. If you're committed to becoming stronger, comment, "I stop wasting myself" below. And if this message spoke to you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Psygrythm, and turn on notifications so you never miss another lesson in power, psychology, and self-mastery. Until next time, stay sharp, stay disciplined, and keep evolving.